Here at the Detroit Policy Conference, Khary Frazier here with somebody that definitely is beloved, layers on layers, because she's also another godchild of, rest in peace, the late Honorable Joanne Watson. Kim Trent, how are you today?
I am doing incredibly well because I'm here with,
Okay.
Big Baller Shot Caller
Hilarious.
in the house.
Hilarious. Hilarious.
Got his Detroit grind on,
all
right?
day. Shout out
All
Mike
day,
Willie.
every day, right?
Shout out Mike Willie and all the people and the folks. This is one of those things I'm like, okay, gotta leave that impression because we're gonna be in the room with a lot of people. It's institutions here.
That's right.
It is business people here. There are also obviously government people here. Hence, those are the pieces of policy.
Right.
And it's focusing on how to attract new people.
Yeah.
The Detroit is a different lens. It's how to retain people.
Listen, that's the whole ball of wax for me. Because to me, having grown up in Detroit at a time, I was 4 when Coleman Young became here.
Oh, man.
I grew up, and it really took me being in my 20s to really realize how unusual our city is.
Mm-hmm.
Our city just is different. It's apropos, right? But, when we think about one example, Aretha Franklin shared a property line with Diana Ross when they were kids. They lived directly behind each other.
Yeah,
on Belmont and I think it was Boston. I can't remember if it was Boston.
Yeah.
And Smokey Robinson lived down the street.
Yeah.
Just think of that kind of talent in one neighborhood. And they're not alone. It's just all about opportunity. And it's about exposure. And we have incredible people on the ground here. And so the first thing that we have to do, I would say, first, do no harm. The people who are on the ground who have grinded their way through rough times in this town, we have to make sure that they're okay first. And then open the doors. I'm all about having lots of diversity. But diversity isn't just racial diversity. It's economic diversity, which is something we desperately need in our town. It's diversity of experience. It's diversity of background. We need a lot of different kinds. Great cities have that.
Yeah.
When you think about the great cities of the world, they're places where people want to be. And so a lot of people don't know they want to be in Detroit till they're here.
And you know what? That kind of goes to the crux of why Detroit is different exists. Mm-hmm. Because this is still such a cliquish town to me. Because it and then you find out it's like, this is a group of black cricket players that've been playing in Palmer Park for 45 years. You're like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you serious? You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? Marvin Gaye used to play with us too. And they'd be like, for real? But this is like, and I'm just throwing that off, but these are like classic Detroit stories.
It is true.
that like, and people kind of don't know. And that's what I try to do on this platform. Yeah. What do you think keeps people so guarded from being so welcome to like letting those stories share, like when you go, as opposed to like a place like places like a Memphis or where it's like, hey, come on in, let me show and let me share and things like that?
Only 2 places. I've lived here. I've lived in Washington, D.C. I lived in Cape Town, South Africa. Mm-hmm. Washington, D.C. is very cliquish too.
It's another one. Yes, that's a very strong.
Like, unless you're a native Washingtonian, they're not really messing with you because they know you're probably going to be on your way out the door. So.
Yeah, like let me. Here's the classical most people say. I've been going for forever. Then I found out about mambo sauce. It's like, I should have been having this stuff. What were these people doing? My bad. But all right, continue.
No, but seriously, but I think that with I think that people can come here and be accepted. There are people who came here and made their fortune, made their career, built it, and became part of the city's history, part of the city's
culture and fabric.
And all that stuff. So, Marvin Gaye wasn't from Detroit.
No, D.C.
Washington, D.C.
D.C.
But there are a lot of really, now, of course, the Motown music, the Motown machine was a lot different. We attracted people from all over the world. But we still, we have to do a better job. And that's why your podcast is so important, of explaining to people, we got some different stuff going on here. We've got some special sauce that you don't even know about. You don't even know you need it until you get it. You get it, you're like, oh, okay. I didn't know Detroit was coming like that,
So on to like a heavier one, and then I do want to get to that question too for you. But learning from the failures in the realm of so much of this work, especially like when we think like government and policy, what have we learned that it's like, okay, we tried that before. Let's not go down that path again. Or if we go down that path, let's make sure we do it this way, because this has been a discussion that's been had in Michigan. I don't know, I'm 41, probably for like 95% of my life. You know what I'm saying? So like some of the things being talked about have been spoke of, and some of those same solutions are being presented again. What can we learn from the failure so that we can turn that L into that?
That is such an amazing question. Part of it, some of it, we just have to evolve out of stuff. And and I'm not saying us, but for example, we had a county executive to the north of us for years who was openly hostile to Detroit's success. Okay, we have a different guy there who recognizes there needs to be cooperation. Some of it, you just got to switch out the people in order to change. Now, it's not just people; it's institutions, it's systems. All of that has to change. But a lot of times, you know what I thought was fascinating? When Dan Gilbert mentioned the other day, oh, we need transit. And I was like, duh.
That's been, like, it's been a topic for a long time.
Yeah, we know that. But all of a sudden, there were all these, oh, yes, we should talk about transit. Well, I mean, the folks who stand on the bus stop have been talking about it for 50 years.
Especially with the snow today. It was, yes.
Oh, yes, right. Yes. So, and I mean, just anyone who's paid attention to how the world works, millennials don't want to live in a city where you have to drive a car. Gen Z definitely doesn't. So, I mean, people present that information as if it's new information when it's been a reality for decades. So, a lot of times it's sadly, or I mean, right or wrong, it's just who says it.
That's deep, and because that sender can get that message received a different way. And I also think those messages for years, we just chalked it up to like the big three is here. So, I mean, you know, it's just, you got to deal with what it is. So as we kind of...
When was the last time you saw G in the Young Neighborhood? Respectfully. I mean, listen, I come from a Ford family. My great-grandfather came here to work for Ford in 1913. So I got all love for the big three. But this idea that the way that most people live their lives in the city of Detroit...
functioning around that industry.
Around an industry that, quite frankly... for a generation, I don't even know anybody who works in the plant anymore. Everybody I knew worked in the plant when I was a kid. My aunts, my uncles and aunts and grandparents. I can't really say. I know maybe 2 or 3, but it's definitely not
what it was.
And so this idea that we can't have transit because we have 3 American automakers, 2 of whom aren't even in the city. It's just really like in 2023, we can't have that conversation anymore. That's just silly.
I feel you. I feel you. Let's. I mean,
but I know that people are, by the way. I know that people still say, "Oh, we're the Motor City."
Yeah.
With an asterisk.
You got that right. I mean, America's becoming the Uber America. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, you know, like period.
Right.
So now, local businesses and pouring into them. And supporting what's that local, you know. Tell us about discovering like one of your favorite businesses. Tell us a story how you did that, and what made you connect with that business.
Ooh, you gonna get me in trouble.
I said one of. I said one of. I didn't say the. So one of. The text message is still making.
I'm gonna say, okay. You know who I'm gonna shout out? Taunta's Cosmetics.
See, I'm unaware. Break it down.
So it's a small business on Livernois near 7 Mile that sells cosmetics. It's in the name, but then they also sell Greek letter paraphernalia. And you know what? If you're not Greek, you just think that's like random. But go in there when somebody's about to cross the line. It's like 1,000 people in there, and the people who started it are just people who are members of 2 different sororities, came together, and they are really thriving. And it's something that, again, like Detroit, you didn't know you needed until you had it. And I go in there, and it's a very diverse business because, as I said, they sell cosmetics, they sell, Greek letter. They started off with the Greek letter stuff kind of being the side business. Now it's kind of exploded, right? And I love it because, that's. Black Greek letter organizations are a big part of our culture, right? But you had to leave the city to buy paraphernalia. I have a friend who owns a paraphernalia shop outside of the city, but I love that these 2 young sisters decided to take a business, start off with cosmetics and then extend themselves to, getting this niche audience that has now exploded. And again, you go in there and you're standing in line for, a while, which I never complained about standing in line in Detroit because I remember when you could just walk right up to the counter because nobody was really doing anything, There always been people grinding.
That puts my god sister in a different mode than a lot of other people.
Okay, but now you gonna see me. Somebody gonna see me like, this is ridiculous standing in line. They're gonna be like, I thought you said you didn't mind standing in line, and I'm being exposed as a hypocrite.
I know, it's like, not today.
Well, usually I'm okay with it, but today you're wasting my time.
But that's the support that you can get, and that is very unique to like grow a niche from that business into something, seeing that you can serve a market and having that place and space to grow it.
And really, you got to be a part of the community to even know that's a need.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody coming in here who doesn't know about the Divine Nine who's going to start selling Black Greek letter organization paraphernalia.
Yeah.
Like, you got to kind of know about us. And, the organizations have to give you a license to do it. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's so and it's, again, it might seem trivial to some people, or it might seem like sororities, fraternities, that's elitist or whatever. But this is a thriving business, unusual somewhat business in one of the most high profile corridors of Black business in the city. And I can't help but feel proud of them for that.
I'm with it. So we didn't even really get all into the state discussion, but this was such a fun discussion. I don't know if you want to speak on something from the state and give your information, but please do.
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of talk today about repopulating our state. And I mean, I think what you're doing here, what we're talking about with retention, my thing is, I want my son who's 15, I would like for him to stay in Michigan. I don't have a problem with him going out and exploring. I lived in other places before I decided this is where I needed to be. But I want it to be the kind of place that he wants to come home to. And so I think that, the fact that we had this panel that came together, that brainstormed on investment, we have to invest in our people in the state. And we have not done that for a very, we're just starting to. When I was on the board at Wayne State University, we were getting the same dollar amount of investment from the state that we got when I graduated from Wayne State University in 1991. So in 2015, they were giving you try to live on your budget from what you were making in 1991. But it was because somebody in Lansing made a decision that they didn't want to invest. And so now we're starting to see that tide turn. We just have to continue, not take our foot off the gas. We have to continue to invest. And yes, that means sometimes, looking at the way we pay taxes, looking at the way we, all a budget is a statement of our values in dollar form. So what are our values? What are the things that matter? What are the things that are important to us? And how do we feed those things? And so I'm really looking forward to seeing how we seed the ground in the next few years, these last few years of the Whitmer administration, so that, whoever follows her, we are turning the tide. We're not losing population, but we're not growing as fast as other states. So how do we get to the point where Michigan is a destination state for people like you and me who want to live in a city, a special city like Detroit?
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Peace. Perfect.
Thank you, Khary.
It was even better.